presencing palate cleanser. Here we go. All right, here we go. And hello. Where are we? Sorry, you guys. Bear with me. I'm looking for, there it is. Okay, got it. And here we go. Take a deep breath.
As we open this virtual space, let's connect and be present with each other. Let's get to know each other with kindness and gentleness. Let's listen to each other with generosity in our hearts. Let's learn from each other with curiosity and wonder. We are a part of nature. We are a part of Earth. We are a part of life. May we use our time together to add to peace and truth and goodness in the world. May we honor the uniqueness and innate beauty of every member of this community. May we be united with each other. For the sake of ourselves and of all future generations.
Favorite moment after sharing these things that I co-created with Sarah McCromer, with whomever I get to create them with, is the moment right after where if you sense the field, it's just a little more tender, a little more present, a little more we. So in the spirit of that, Hope, come on and let's talk a bit about what we've been discovering and maybe even do a little meditation as well. And I think that's what this time is now for, right, on the agenda? Scott?
Yeah, we were going to go to an Omashar song next, but I think there's such a
let's
song.
do that. Oh, go ahead. What do you want to do?
Good? Okay, great. Because we have not heard from our beloved house musical artist Omashar yet.
Sorry about that,
Anderson's already got his
Thank
arms
you.
up. People are ready to go.
So beautiful, Gary. Thank you so much. And Sue, wow, she just rocked my insides. And Hope and Mindy, so grateful that you're here as well. And this is a song called What If?
What if we could find a way to wipe away all tears and fears, all broken hearts, to clear the way for a brand new start? Now that we see and know the way to lift our day and shine the light for all to see, the way back home and the way to be free. Let our love lead the way. Let the light shine through all. Let our hearts and minds be free. As we rise up from the fall, there is a way to see again, to be again, to know the truth and smile again. With an open heart we feel safe again. Now that we're free and we see that the way is to let our love show us a new way to be, and we relish the chance to be part of the dance that will recreate the world anew. What if we could find a way to wipe away all tears and fears, all broken hearts, to clear the way for a brand new start? Let our love lead the way. Let the light shine through all. Let our hearts and minds be free. As we rise up from the fall, there is a way to see again, to be again, to know the truth and smile again. With an open heart we feel safe again, safe again, safe again.
Mhm. I'm going to go to gallery view. Let's all give some wonderful twinkles to our beloved brother, our house musical artist, the wonderful Omar Shar. Thank you so much, Omar Shar. And again, a reminder, everybody, you can find all these wonderful albums, these children that he has given birth to, on Bandcamp. That's the best place to go. Just go to omarshar.bandcamp.com and pick up his albums and listen to Omar Shar throughout the week, and support our beautiful, beloved brother, who is such an important part of this show. And he'll be back with another song a little bit later on in the show. And I'm going to turn it back over to our co-host, the wonderful Gary Malcolm.
Thank you. And I hope I invite you to come on as well. Omar Shar, that was so beautiful. And, you know, it's so beautiful when you see everyone sharing and being and partaking together. It is such a heartwarming thing to feel how capable we are of being an interconnected whole, you know. So thank you for that beautiful experience. Gorgeous. Yay.
Yes, I loved the way some of your early in the song, your lyrics were about shining your light, and this light is just coming out from behind you. It's beautiful.
So you guys, I am so excited. This is a segment that Hope and I are going to talk a little bit about this place that we've been discovering together. And we have both very, you know, affirming and aligned things to say that echo with what Sue offered on a macro level that I'm sure we have juicy things to say, but also on a micro level, how it is for us on the ground as we face our daily lives. And we're excited because we started, Hope and I, around the passion of the end of life process, and Graceful Passages, the workshop, is what we created. That is one of our programs, Graceful Passages from Grief to Gratitude. And when we approached this, we kind of thought that the design that we came up with for Graceful Passages was very similar to the resilience piece. And as we dove into it, we were blown away that it was not. And some great awakenings came as a result of this inquiry. So, yeah, Hope, why don't you share a little bit about what you've learned? And we'll tell at the end of our time, we have about 15 or 20 minutes, we're going to talk about a workshop that we have coming up that we're excited about. But first, let's just talk about how this gets real. You know what I mean? Being human beings in this crazy time.
Well, you know, I think that the times are pushing us, you know, as Dr. Sue was saying, the times are pushing us in a certain direction. And it's forcing us in a way to make these choices about how we want to live, how we want to be. And she was talking about, you know, we get very exhausted when we're kind of doing it all by ourselves. And I always compare this to the story that we were all told as children, The Little Engine That Could, you know, chugging up that. Of course, the toys were trying to help, but the engine was all by itself. And this is one of the things that's woven into, not going to talk about the rest of the world, but certainly woven into the American spirit, which is so independent. And we just come in and we're going to go after it. And but we're forgetting that we are part of something bigger and that we have helpers and helping hands and helping energy all the time. But as Sue was explaining, we sort of forget that. We go mind first and forget about that help. But eventually the little engine is going to get exhausted and not be able to get over that hill. So those, the choices that we make really have to do with, are we going to continue on to be that little engine and get more and more exhausted, or are we going to figure out other ways? So, you know, I think I've been interested in this for a very long time, but when the infinity wave introduced itself and said that it was here to help us stay in flow, you know, I
Stop for a minute, Hope.
Yeah.
Some people don't know. Some people don't know. This is the subject of the book that Hope released a number of months ago to great acclaim, called The Infinity Wave. And so for those of you who don't know what it is, maybe before you might want to just say that a little bit, Hope, so people know.
Okay, just super quick. The infinity wave is it's a figure eight made of flowing water. And that's just the representation of it. That's something that we can wrap our minds around, but it's way bigger than that. In fact, it is this love channel, this love force that Dr. Sue was talking about. It's a way we can take this gigantic thing and put it to use. It's love and compassion at a very high frequency. And when we apply that to life, to any situation, either internally or externally, we enter into a flow state. To me, what I've learned is that being in love and compassion equals a flow state. So if we have a way to quickly jog us back in to that state, then isn't that great? That is what the infinity wave is here to help us to remember. And it's quite simple. It's so simple. You can teach it to a child in a minute. And they'll go, yay, I love it. Adults kind of go, wait a minute, what is this thing? But it actually works. And also sort of echoing what Dr. Sue said, 15, 20 years ago, it was a lot harder to talk about these things. And just, you had to really crunch away at it. And when we started, when the infinity wave came in 14 years ago, I know I experienced this because I was trying to explain this phenomenon, and it wasn't that easy. But now I say it, and people are like, "Oh yeah, that makes total sense," and they start using it right away. So it's the morphogenetic field of it, if you will, has grown, and also we as a species have grown because everybody who turns their light on affects everybody else, just like Dr. Sue was saying. So anyway, when we can enter into this flow state, then we find that we are more resilient. We aren't just the little engine anymore. We have all these resources available to us. And Gary, we started talking about this resilience workshop because after the whole COVID thing, what I was noticing, and you were too, is that people were still sort of frozen in state. I mean, they were going about daily life, but they weren't opening in their beings. There was still this sort of clutching. And we just really wanted to help people come back into their humanity. And we started working on the workshop, and turned out that, oh, that's the Graceful Passages workshop. What do you know? But now we have even more, I think, ability in what we've put together. We have more refinement so that it really does directly address this resiliency piece. And,
Yeah.
why that's so important is because everything that's going on.
Yes. And one of the things that we have been working on for this workshop, that I want to just share these 4 modules that we've developed. I'm just going to go there for a minute. Here, it's the innards of my computer, forgive me, but just these 4, we call it the River's Way. And what we divide is that these 4 modules of work is that they're kind of all one leads to the next. And so what we discovered was the first step is dare to dive, the art of true seeing. And that's going to be the first module that's involved in where do we contract? Where do we freeze? And we started to notice fight, flight, freeze, and all that stuff. It's very much related to when we believe we're separate and we believe we have to clench and react and all this. When we know that life is happening for us, not to us, then suddenly things start to melt down, and we start to then go to the next module, dare to not know, the art of true listening, the art of curiosity, right? The art of willingness to really be open to something larger coming through. And that's that when things start to get kind of emulsified into this awareness of the flow that Sue was talking about. So we have each section, we're going to be exploring presence exercises, guided meditation, different forms of sharing, dyads, exploring where we contract, where we open. And as we do this work, and listening becomes a superpower as it evolves into a deeper relationship with the big kahuna of the 4, which is the dare to trust, the art of true surrender, this sense of something is larger than us. And we finally really not just give lip service to it. And that's what we noticed is the pivotal. Say a little bit about that, Hope, because I know that we've talked about that that's the moment, right? The let go. Just say a little bit about it.
Well, it is, it's standing with your toes curled over the edge of the cliff and being willing to jump. And the thing is that we don't really realize how entrenched we are with our reality until you're daring to go. And most of us don't do it voluntarily. We do it because, well, we've had a big upset in our lives. We're at the end of our rope. We're the little engine at the very crest of the hill, can't quite get up. There's something dramatic that has pushed us to that place. And The thing is, though, you see, the universe can't catch us if we're not willing to jump. That's the thing. And it's scary. But we're figuring it out in a way that makes it less scary and much more enticing. And all the fruits are waiting after we let go, after we surrender. So we're gonna guide people to that point.
And the fourth module, it was really interesting when we started diving into this, you guys, because we asked, well, what is the real point for this, right? This whole thing. And with grief and emulsifying and metabolizing grief, the point was from grief to gratitude to actually see the grief change us into expanding our capacity to be joyful and grateful with music and celebration and multisensory experiences in every way you can imagine. But when we started to explore what the goal of a workshop on flow and resilience was, it was a revelation for us to realize it was about presence, the dare to be, what the Native Americans say, the right to be, to arrive at and Mahatma Gandhi said that the greatest expression of the human being is to see the holy in the ordinary, right? So this idea of like a Dorothy quicks our toes, we come back to the right to be present, to be now, right? So all the thing leads us to in flow is the idea to just be here now. So
And
that's a little window into our work. Go ahead, Hope. Yeah.
So I was just going to say, these are all great theories and philosophies and ideas and all that. They're all fantastic. How do we actually achieve them? How do we do it? And so that's why we are providing these exercises, these practices, and ways to get at it. So it's something that could be repeatable, so that everybody could take home with them and go, okay, I remember, oh, I'm going to play that meditation, or I'm going to do that little exercise, or whatever it is, because I want to come back. I want to retrain myself to be in this new state. And that we're providing something very practical. So that we can live what Dr. Sue was talking about, and what we're talking about, that it can become our reality.
Right. So would you like to close our little time with just a kind of a 5-minute meditation? I can do that short track that I love a lot. That would just, see what happens.
See,
Like
I think we
what
ought to
Sue
go and
did.
talk to Mindy is what I think we ought to
Do you?
Yeah,
Well,
do.
all right. Well, then let's trust that. Bring Mindy in then. Is that okay with you, Scott? Can we kind of trust our gut about this?
Absolutely.
All right. Good. Hey, Mind. Yeah.
Hi. So lovely to
So,
be here. Thank
Hope, why
you.
don't you,
So,
why don't you explain? Go ahead, Hope. Why don't
I
you
will,
take
I
the
will.
lead on this inquiry?
okay. So some people on this call maybe were on the call or in the show a little over a year ago when the Lahaina fires happened, and afterwards Scott kindly devoted a whole show towards that, and for praying and doing all kinds of things, music, all kinds of things happened that night. And I was so grateful and honored to be a part of it, because my dear friend Mindy here had just had her house, her rental house, completely destroyed. And so I wrote a beautiful, it's about, I'm not saying what I wrote was beautiful. I was inspired by this.
But of course it
woman.
was.
No. I was inspired by Mindy, because lots of people got on the first plane out of Maui that they could possibly get on, but not this woman. This woman stayed, I forget how long, to help everybody in the community. And when I say help, I don't mean she bought a loaf of bread and spread it around. She worked tirelessly from morning into the night, organizing and gathering, putting people together, networking, and just delivering. Took a fundraiser to get together, put one together, and just went after it and helped so many people, even having lost her everything. So, you know, this is Mindy, and now her hometown of Asheville has had what, you know, everybody knows what's happened there. What has Mindy done? Mindy has done the exact same thing. So I don't know anybody who has, in a practical, day-to-day, never giving up way, done it the way Mindy has done it. So she is the walking embodiment of resilience. So nobody better to talk about it than you, my dear. So
Thank
there you
you.
go.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, this has been quite the year of practicing resilience, right? Um, you know, in listening to what you guys were talking about and Dr. Sue, it reminds me of it reminds me that our emotional bodies are this beautiful tool that we have in this condensed version of our physical reality, right? And that our our body has this opportunity to hold so much gratitude and awe and grace and determination and all those things that are on one end of our emotional body, and at the same time just overwhelming grief and loss, and be standing in a complete place of shock, but not even understand that you're standing there in shock. You know, so many people think that shock means that you're incapacitated. Shock doesn't mean that. Shock means that your emotional body, your wiring, has installed a shield around you so that you can't take any more in than you can handle. And so that you have the opportunity to continue to act and save yourself and others, and participate in the actions that are required to do that. And it's not until much later that you really understand, oh, maybe I wasn't quite myself during those moments. You know, you're just not aware. You don't know what you don't know when it's happening. In the Lahaina fire, as in the flooding that we're recovering from here in the mountains of North Carolina, the same thing is happening, right? Like there's this overwhelming grief and this overwhelming assault almost to your senses of getting your head around what's actually happened. Like Gary was saying, you know, hundreds of people were on the tops of their houses as their houses were going down the river. And so many people were clinging to trees, and, you know, no help came. And, and all of those are just these incredibly challenging, sad, awful things that have happened. But at the same time, this community, meaning, you know, this 27 counties in North Carolina that have been affected. And that doesn't even begin to talk about Tennessee and Virginia and South Carolina. And actually, my house in Florida, Helene came on land 30 miles from my house and went straight over my own yard in Florida at a Category 4. So, you know, I had just barely gotten power back when I got in the car and took off for the mountains. Because I couldn't hold still there anymore. I needed to get to my peeps. But what happens is you hold all these assaults to your system while at the same time holding all this absolute gratitude for the grace that's being shown in front of you, for the camaraderie, for the action, for the outpouring of support and concern and compassion and love, and witnessing not just this community come together to take care of their own, but the country, the world, the communities of people that we don't even know, right? just like this, that are sharing their love and sharing their energy and sending things and collaborating in their own ways to find ways to assist in whatever way is possible for them, because it's all energy, right? It's all energy. It doesn't matter if all you can do is, the only opportunity that you have is to sit there and love and send all of these folks up here your heartfelt compassion. That is just as important as the physical things, because it all manifests into that compression, and it all matters, and it's all just a transfer. So I am in the doing. I am in the act of creation here on the ground. We've been coordinating with the hubs. There's a lot of the right hand not only is not talking to the left hand, it's not even sure that the left hand exists at the moment. There's a lot of coordination on the
Can you
ground.
clarify more of what you
The
mean by
different
that?
hubs.
Right, left
There's
hand.
so
Just say
in
a little bit more.
Lahaina, right? In Lahaina, it was one town, right? It wasn't one town, but it was one area. There was also another fire that happened at the same time up country in a town called Kula. Anyway, but there were isolated areas that the natural disaster happened in, right? But in this particular instance, it's 27 counties. So, there's a lot of coats over here, but nobody knows that. And they're buried in coats, but they really need them over here. But these folks don't even know how to talk to these people. They don't even know that there are coats over there. They don't even know that this hub exists, because they're so in their own presence of the doing. So we've been trying to weave a network and a communication base, identifying where the hubs are, finding the leaders, figuring out what they need, and then collaborating amongst the wider web to get the things that are needed here from A, who's drowning in them, and just really create a more efficient network. We're 3 weeks out right now, and there is a lot more coordination happening. Hallelujah. But every single community is reinventing their own wheel, and that's challenging, because thank God, right? People don't have a lot of experience with this, and they've never done it before. Hallelujah. At the same time, because you have to reinvent the wheel while you're going through shock, and your community is in serious need, and it's winter. Like, just inside this time period, we went from 70s during the day, high 70s during the day, high 50s at night, to it's freezing at night. It's 30 degrees here. And there are counties that they're behind and they don't have heaters. And, so again, it comes back to, I don't mean to be, I don't need to be seeding fear. I'm just saying that the people here, even in their moments of extreme discomfort and what feels like, making decisions about life and death, they're still talking about how beautiful it is that so many people are showing up, that their community is making dinners, that free food is available, that the hubs have been created. It's just again another example of living that extreme of our emotional bodies simultaneously. When you live in that gratitude, you're connected to the bigger piece of you, the bigger piece of ourselves, like Dr. Sue was talking about. But when you're also simultaneously in the moment, and you've stepped onto the projection screen and all you can see is boulders, it's beautiful to have that other side of your emotional body that reminds you of the bigger picture, reminds you how we're all connected, reminds you how you're not alone.
That's so key. That's really it.
It is.
Because, and you're not going to get that necessarily by sitting at home. You might, but it's when you get out and start connecting to others and being in service, and then everybody meets each other in that place. And then the gratitude, I don't know which came first, chicken or egg,
Right.
but yeah, I think that's really important to remember that, and that, we always go back to gratitude. I mean, that's kind of the
Yes.
solution to so many things.
Yes.
And one of the things that's, unified by what the intensity of Mindy's experience, bringing up generators and water and supporting people and body bags and all the things that you've been doing. The metaphor of that at the micro is that it seems like what your greatest fuel is this deep sense of the we, of the connection to the unified community that we all are. And that is what we've discovered around how to navigate, when your expectations are, let's just say something much more benign and easy. It's like, well, didn't work out the way I wanted to. But when you start to look at the perspective of I am a connected being to a we somehow, and somehow my spiritual disappointments don't mean a lot. And this is really a core piece about what resilience is about, that strong, direct experience, feeling part of the we. Yeah. So I want to offer an opportunity to drop into that place together. Do you want to do that now, Hope, or do you have more you want to share at this point?
No, I think,
About
yeah, we can do
maybe
it
we
now.
should.
I want to make sure we're on the schedule the way.
Yeah, I would love to read. I always like to keep our audience engaged, and they're very engaged. But I'd like to read some of the comments that have come in.
Great.
And people are very touched by you, Mindy. Pam writes, Mindy, you sound like a true earth angel. Thank you for everything you've done for others while experiencing such tremendous loss of your own. Dr. Laura writes, Mindy, all honor to you for your immense generosity and your love. Carol Craig writes, maximum grace, Mindy. Grace Denise writes, Mindy, what an inspiration you are. Ayada writes, what a powerful role model and lesson to all of us, how we can respond in these times where we will be seeing disasters on the increase. Dr. Laura continues, Mindy, may the healing and love of God heal your heart from all of the trauma you've witnessed lately. Love, healing, abundance, calm, and community support. May this all come to you. Shoshana writes, blessings to you, Mindy, and all of your communities. You are such a lighthouse. Eleanor Joy writes, apparently a whole convoy came down from Canada for hydro support. Isn't it beautiful how people will pitch in? And Ayada writes, it seems that this network Mindy is working with others to create could really make good use of the Love Pods, the internet satellite service from the Canadians. And Jerry, if you want to talk about that, if you raise your hand, I'll pop you on. Yeah, this might be something good for you to know about, Mindy. So this is our wild monk from the Mystic Monastery, Jerry Anderson. And Jerry, tell us about the Love Pods and how they could possibly be of help.
Yes, they're an amazing thing. It's just a small little device that's like a tiny modem, and it communicates with your 4G, doesn't do 5G. And if you don't have 4G, it automatically switches to satellite. So you literally have a satellite phone wherever you go. But the most beautiful thing about it is it was developed by a First Nations tribe in Canada. And from this unit to it is intranet, not internet, intranet. So it's completely private. And from there it is scrub clean of all your data. So all your search engines and so forth don't know where you just looked up to drive your car to or whatever, all clean. So it's an amazing device. I will put in the chat the connection to get it. It's amazing. And like I say, it's from the First Nation tribes in Canada. Blessings to you all.
I love this idea. Yes, please drop the information. That would be wonderful.
And Jerry, is that what you're using right now to watch and be with us on now?
You need to unmute, Jerry.
Tonight I'm on my regular Wi-Fi, but I have used this many times to do the show. And the nice thing is there's no dead zones. There's no such thing. You can buy it for any country. You can buy it for Europe. You can buy it for the South America, and they'll put the data right on your Love Pod, and you're good to go. No roaming charges, any of that kind of thing.
That's amazing. That's amazing. We would love those. That's one of the big problems that we have is people can't connect to each other. They don't have any cell service. They don't have any internet. They don't know what's going on. They can't ask for what they need. I love this idea.
Good. Gary, what I would love to do is open it up to any questions the audience has. And also, we still need for you and Hope to share how people can learn more about your offerings. So just a reminder that
Yes.
you have screen share privilege. So whatever website or whatever you want to direct people to. If people have questions, now's a good time to put them into the chat box. And I have a question for all of you. So Dr. Sue helped us to understand about really tapping into that unified field, and call it whatever you want to call it, higher self, God, source, the universe. What are some tools when you're in chaos, maybe even when you're in reptile brain, to move out of reptile brain, come back into the more centered self, or the frontal lobe, and really connect into that source? What are some of the tools that any of you could recommend? Go ahead, Mindy. But you need to unmute.
I know what I do. Or one of the things that I do, I am consistently reminding myself that I'm safe. And, no matter what that means, I'm safe. And, when these kinds of things happen, your body reacts in such a way that you really don't feel safe. And it's easy to get lost in that chemistry that's bubbling through your veins, right? But for me, because oftentimes I don't stop in the midst of what's swirling around me to go meditate or take a moment and ground. And I mean, all those things are wonderful, but oftentimes what works for me in the immediate present moment of swirl is what I call it, is just reminding myself, you're okay. We can do hard things. You're safe. Because in every single present moment, you are, no matter what the outcome is. Ultimately, we're safe. And it's very helpful for me because I know that this is not my only experience. This is not my only existence, that ultimately that I am safe. I'm sure Gary and Hope have much better answers than that.
Well,
but that's what works for me
So
in the moments of chaos and swirl.
There's no such thing as better answers.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
other answers. And that was a wonderful answer. It's actually, as a coach, something that's almost exactly what I always tell people when they're dealing with fight or flight. Recognize I am safe. I am safe because we are almost always safe. Could you also put into the chat box while Gary and Hope was speaking, the link to your nonprofit organization so we can show it to people and promote it?
Yeah, I have just like 10 days ago gone to set that up. After all of the disasters that I've been through, I've finally decided, hey, maybe I should have a nonprofit. So I've submitted that, And I should have that new EIN and that set up in the next few days, the early part of this week. But I do have just the very beginnings also of a website, and it does have some donation opportunities. Should you wish to decide to help, we would love that. And
Yeah,
I'll put
absolutely.
that.
So put that
I'm
in the
doing it.
chat box, please. And Gary appears to have oh, there he is. Okay. Disappeared there for a moment. Gary and Hope, the spotlight is on both of you. What are some of your tools for coming to center, getting ready to really connect to that higher self or the unified field?
Well, I love the I am safe thing that Mindy just shared. And what that does is brings us back to the present moment, which is what we are ultimately trying to help people do. I also use the infinity wave, not to, it has many uses. And one of them, when we are bathing ourselves in that level of love and compassion, the whole body, everything just quiets down. It just reaches a much more still point. And the effect is to bring us back into the present moment, much like I Am Safe does. It's just a different tool. Part of the thing that happens is we forget when we're panicking, we forget that we have this abundance, this infinite source of love and compassion. And that really the love and compassion can ease every storm. It can calm every storm, is what I meant to say. So that's what I do. What about you, Garrett?
Well, one of the things that I have been cultivating since let go of having a home for the last year and a half, which was, for a recovering Jewish, it wasn't a small deal. I had to have things just so to let go. And I basically used, hope as an extraordinary dowsing technique that I use a lot as my guidance. But I've developed the habit of using my pendulum. And, the whether you become the body pendulum, which is a way of doing it also that we can learn how to use our body for affirmation or negation. What I found was when I asked spirit on a regular, like how I got out of Asheville, I was in the middle of the hurricane. Everything had been broken down. I had no gasoline in my
Gary, I'm going to come in for a moment. Okay, for some reason your camera went off, and your internet has gotten really, really bad.
Oh God. Okay.
Yes. So your camera is going on and off, and you're wobbly. I don't know if there's anything you can do, close other programs, or maybe even change what your internet is. Yeah, we are just so dependent on our technology.
All right. I'm sorry.
You know what? While you're doing that, I'll read a few more comments from the audience. And also, for anybody, our good friend, who's a regular, Ellie, is really wanting to know what's going on with Asheville. So if any of you can give an actual report, how is downtown Asheville? What has been flooded? What has been resolved? Where do things stand? My understanding is that it was the mountainous areas that got hit the hardest, and that's where entire little towns kind of are gone now. But I also saw where parts of downtown Asheville were actually practically underwater. I guess the entire arts center. So if any of you can offer a report on that, that would mean a lot to Ellie.
Yeah, I'm actually here. I'm on the ground. I'm 15 minutes north of Asheville right now, and we've been all over the area. Biltmore Village, as well as RAD, which is River Arts District, were absolutely underwater. Biltmore Village was inundated. The water has receded. They are working to clear those areas. if you drive the interstate up into Asheville, you don't hardly see anything has happened, but as soon as you get near the river, it's very clear. We still have lots of debris. There's still lots of cars. There's still lots to be cleaned up. There's lots of trees down around the River Arts and in Biltmore Village. And I'm sure there's other areas. Those are just the ones that I personally have driven through recently. But there are big pieces of Asheville that are totally visually fine. We're having issues with water. We're having issues with water safety. We're having issues with soil safety in Asheville and in lots of areas around it. There are many, many, many small towns in the elevation, the higher elevations of the mountains that are gone. The river literally just washed them away. And as you can imagine, the survivors in those areas and so many areas are deeply struggling, because just because your house still exists doesn't mean it's not full of 4 feet of sediment or has had so much water damage that you can't live there because it now has a mold problem, or but Asheville downtown for the most part is okay. It's the areas that were near the river that were affected the most.
Will the River
I'll answer the
Arts,
question.
will the River Arts area be able to, resume or rebuild, or is it just really kind of completely ruined?
That is a great question. Nothing is impossible, but they're not going to have a lot of traffic there in the near future. So a lot of the artists that are down there, their places have been ruined. The places that have not been ruined, because there's a pretty iconic building called the Wedge Building, right? And it's very tall and and it's on the side, and you can see it from the river, and the river did affect it, and it did have a lot of water damage. Now the upper floors weren't necessarily flooded, but the 2 bottom floors of it were underwater. So there's a lot of questions. Everything is survivable, but it's going to take a lot of time, and it's going to take a lot of collaboration and a lot of restructuring before the River Arts District is anything like it was.
Wow. Thank you so much for that report. Thank you.
Of course. Of course.
I've asked Gary to go ahead and actually just leave the Zoom room. I think if he leaves and comes back in, he might get a better connection. That works that way sometimes. And so I'm going to do a couple of Global Peace Tribe announcements. And then we're going to go to an Omashar song. And then we will come back to kind of conclude with Mindy, Hope, and Gary. But let's do that. And then stick around, everybody, because Maggie Rose De La Costa is going to be with us. She's got something really exciting to share that I'm excited about. And then she's going to conclude the entire evening with a beautiful KES group healing. So we still have a lot left here on the Awakening World. But, there's so many wonderful events taking place. And so I'm going to take a moment to kind of remind all of you about some of the things that are happening right now, this weekend. And let's start with the Art and Science of Elevating Consciousness. All of you remember last week, we were, our entire show was dedicated to Humanities Team and what they're doing. It started today. I know many of you were watching, and it goes for the next week. So go to humanitiesteam.org, humanitiesteam.org, and sign up for the Art and Science of Elevating Consciousness. It's an amazing program. I know many of you have already been watching it and participating in it. Then tomorrow, we've got 2 very special events happening. Dr. Kat Lewis has been a regular on the show since our beloved Reverend Jeffrey introduced her to us. She's part of the International Space Federation. And she started a Sunday morning heart coherence meditation group. It just started last week. I attended, it was lovely. And I invite any of you who are interested to participate. And I'm going to put the link into the chat box in a minute for all of these things. Everything I'm showing you, I'm going to put the links into the chat box where you can register. When you register for her, there's a suggested donation, but she has generously offered that if you say, no, I'm part of the Global Peace Tribe, you can pay whatever you can afford, even if it's $11. So if you want to join me, I'll be there tomorrow morning. Please join us, 8 a.m. Pacific time, 8 a.m. Pacific time. And that's going to be every Sunday for a little while. Then the big event happening tomorrow. And of course, on Wednesday night, we did a whole show promoting it. It is Global Disclosure Day. And it's going to be a dynamic, powerful 2 hours. Danny Sheehan has brought together really most of the significant leaders in the disclosure movement. And that's going to be at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 o'clock Eastern time for 2 hours. Global Disclosure Day. I'll be there. I think many of us are going to be there. And again, I'm going to put the links in the chat box where you can register. And all of these events, you can register even for free. Dr. Katz is the only one where there's even a donation. That's a possibility. So please, these are amazing opportunities for us to come together in community, learn and grow. I'm going to put the links into the chat box. But I have one more big event that I want to share everybody about. And this is from our good friend, Deborah Giusti. And of course, Deborah is the co-founder of Global Peace Tribe. And she is putting together a very special event on Monday night, October 28th at 5:30 Pacific time. She's calling it the State of the World and Planetary Ascension. And her big guest is Camille Moritz. She's been on the show before. She's a spiritual medium working on a very advanced spiritual and multidimensional level. And she and Deborah are going to share what's really going on a deeper level. So again, a lot of our global subscribers.
Scott, I think that there, can you, that graphic was, at least for me, I couldn't see it.
Okay, can people see it now?
There we go. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I'm glad Gary's back. So we're going to go back to Gary in a little bit. State of the World, Planetary Ascension. Again, I'll put the link into the chat box during Omashar's song, which is coming right up. I'll give you the links to all 4 of these events. We're then going to go now to Omashar, and then we'll come back to Gary, Hope, and Mindy.
Hope.
Yes, we'll come back to you and Hope.
Can you
and
hear
Mindy
me right now?
in a few minutes.
All right.
Yep. But we're going to go to Omashar for his song. Hello, Mr. Omashar.
Hey. Oh. Deep breath, everybody. Deep breath, everybody. There's solar flares happening everywhere, so we are in a moment of complete resilience. And this song is called Just a Breath Away.
When you feel like giving up, when you feel like letting go, living in this ever-changing world, when it seems that all is lost and you don't know where to turn, the future seems so very far away, so just know there really is a plan. The sun will always shine, and with your hand in mine, all heaviness fades away. The love in our hearts will melt the darkest day. Ba-dum-bum-bum, ba-dum-bum-bum, ba-dum-bum-bum-bum-bum-bum. So when it seems that you're alone and the fears knock at your door, remember I am just a breath away. You are my brightest star. You've just forgotten who you are. Remember there is nothing in the way. So just know there really is a plan. The sun will always shine, and with your hand in mine, all heaviness fades away. The love in our hearts will melt the darkest day. Ba-da-dum-bum-bum, ba-da-dum-bum-bum, da-da-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum. So when you feel like giving up, or when you feel like letting go, remember I am just a breath away. And just know there really is a plan. The sun will always shine, and with your hands in mine, all heaviness fades away. The love in our hearts will melt the darkest day. The love in our hearts will melt the darkest day. Ba-da-dum-dum-dum, da-dum-dum-dum. The love in our hearts will melt the darkest day.
I'm going to go to gallery view. Let's all twinkle and appreciate beloved Omar Shar. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And the good news is it appears that Gary Malkin has a good video again. So it worked. So I'm going to go back to you, Gary. And
How can you hear me?
yep. Oh, yeah, you froze again.
We can hear you. You're frozen, but we can hear your voice.
So hope you be but my voice for me then. Close it up. I was going to talk about surrender, but
We
go
can
ahead.
hear you, brother. We just can't see you. We can hear you.
All right. Well, listen, this is perfect because exactly how do you make God laugh? You tell her your plans, and this idea of staying flexible and malleable and not holding ideals and trusting that all is well is being given me an opportunity to have that experience right this second. We do thank you. So I was saying that there is a difference in my experience after a year of being home wherever I am that to do with not lip service, but a true knowing that when we say life is happening for us, to us, not to us, is the most powerful practice that I have ever been through in my life, which is not just sensing it, but knowing that there's some great force holding us that's bigger than us. And that is my most powerful advice that I give to what I've learned about resilience is I'm held by something so powerful, and now I know it in my bones. So that has been a lot of thanks to working with the most beautiful partner in the world on this project, Hope. I love you so much, and thank you for all the greats and the learning that I've had about this. And so I'll hand it up to you to closing comments about the resilience and flow. Yeah.
Well, Gary, you took the courageous step to become a nomad. And I think, we don't learn these things from the comfort of our armchairs so much. We have to take an action of some sort that puts us out of our comfort zone. And that's when the learning happens. And that's when that surrender can then circle around. And as it has for you, I mean, the fact that you went to Asheville 2 days before the hurricane came, not really, I kept texting you saying, there's a big storm coming. You're not used to that in California. And you just responded so beautifully. I think a year and a half ago it would have been very different, but because of this experience of trusting, of trusting the not knowing, and continually over the course of a year being having everything that you needed really fall into place kind of elegantly when you look back on it, right? It's like pretty amazing.
Right.
Um,
It is.
yeah, that's the kind of thing that we cannot, not that everybody has to become a nomad, but that willingness to, let go of the grip and expand into the not knowing. That's where all the juice is. So anyway, we're gonna
Exactly.
we're gonna present these things in our workshop, and I'm very excited about it. So, and I've learned a lot, by working with my friend Mindy too, So this is all grist for the mill. Everybody's experiences are coming together into what our workshop is going to be. And so, yeah, I'm excited.
And I'm putting the link in the chat again for those of you who want to join us, because a courageous, transparent, evolutionary infused community is what we are calling out, calling all folk to join us in this inquiry on being really connected to the we as a way to get access to true resilience, ease and grace and flow. So join us if you can, and register when you can. So thanks.
The website, just want to read it for all of the people who are watching on Facebook who can't see it in the chat box. It's u-awake.com. u-awake.com. They have a wonderful workshop that's going to be happening on November 9th. So that's coming up in a few weeks. And definitely, there they are, our wonderful guests, Gary and Hope. It's a lovely photo. And you can really learn more about what they're doing and how to participate in this really exquisite work that they have just launched their lives into. And hopefully we've seen tonight their dedication. And I want to encourage everybody, do what I'm doing right now, put in your email address and your name so that they can keep you updated on all the wonderful things that they're doing. I also want to take one last moment to spotlight the wonderful work that Mindy is doing. And people have been asking, how can we support her? Her website is called United Ambassadors of Hope. And I'm going to go to that now. UnitedAmbassadorsOfHope.org. And it's nice and easy to donate. Right in the upper right-hand corner, just click Donate Now. And there's a QR code. I'm going to keep the QR code on for a moment. On the left-hand side, it would be if you want to use PayPal. On the right-hand side, if you want to use your Venmo. See if there's anything else. No, there it is. So I'm going to leave that up for a minute. And I think by now, most of you know what to do, but what you do, I'll model it. Let me put the spotlight on myself here. There we go. You take your trusty phone, you go to the camera setting, you go to, let's say I'm going to go to PayPal, and there you go. Then once you see the little yellow says PayPal, you click it and boom, it takes you right to the PayPal page where I'm going to make a donation right now. And I hope that all of you will as well. So let's really support Mindy, the Ambassadors of Hope.org. Again, it's United ambassadors, plural, of hope.org.
Thank you so much that all the donations go to the local people here on the ground. We are buying generators, we're buying massive amounts of water filtration systems because there's an issue with contaminated water, even out of the wells. We're buying huge amounts of Tyvek suits because the soil's contaminated to get people in there to be able to clean up. Thank you so much, y'all. And heaters. Oh my gosh, heaters and all the things, right? Trying to keep people alive and safe and warm. Thank you. You all have been so kind and generous. I really appreciate you. I'm
Absolutely.
so
hugging
grateful
you
for
for
you,
all the
Mindy.
people in the mountains. Ah! Thank you.
I'm leaving this up just so people have time to do it. Honestly, I had a little bit of trouble with PayPal. So you may want to just check the PayPal QR code. It didn't work
Okay.
so well,
Okay.
but the Venmo is working.
Okay. It was working earlier, but thank you for letting me know.
Yeah, I tried it twice with PayPal, but Venmo just worked.
Okay. Well, there you go. Thank
And
you.
I'll leave it up for one more moment for
Go
people.
check it out.
Okay, yeah, my Venmo just works, so I just donated that way.
Thank you so much, Scott.
My pleasure. And it's important for all of us to support you and the people that are doing such amazing work as you are. So, Gary, I'm going to try bringing you up one more time. It does look like your camera's on now. There you are, you beautiful man, you. So, thank you, Gary Malkin.
Thank you, Scott, for being willing to talk about this important issue, both in the micro and the macro. I mean, for me, one of the moments that I will never forget is when, on a dime, Sue just dropped into the Holy Sepulchre. It was like, bam, right, dropped right in. It was biblical. It was a really gorgeous moment, and I loved it. So thank you.
I'm going to
for all of
bring
it.
our friend Ellie for a moment, and she's got a brief story to share and a question about Black Mountain. And then we're going to go to the final part of our show, which is going to be a conversation with Maggie and a KES group healing. But Ellie, I know you wanted to share something briefly, and you had a question.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Yeah, what happened in North Carolina really strikes home for me because I actually did have a home there at the top of Black Mountain for about a year. And when I was there, my turtle got out at one point. She got out from in the yard. I had an enclosure for her and the two cats, and she went under it and was hiding. And then these huge torrential rains came, and they lasted. I swear that this is what this hurricane reminded me of, is that it rained every day and night for like 6 weeks. And I was blown away. I had never experienced anything like that. And well, so the turtle was by the water bank. There was a little brook behind my little house, and it became engorged with water. And so she was getting a drink, and she slipped in and was carried down the mountain to the only pond that exists there. And so it was really painful to, let her go. But then eventually I realized she was, going to have the rest, her next chapter in an ideal home for her. And I let her go. But when I checked on her a couple of weeks ago to see if she survived the hurricane, I got a negative. I got that, when I tuned in, that the pond had really overflowed and she didn't make it. And so it's just been hard. I can feel the emotions of the people there. Like I can really it's just been really difficult. So I just wanted to, yeah, share that. And
Mhm.
I don't know if you know anything about, how the top of Black Mountain is doing, or
So Black Mountain and Swannanoa, its close neighbor, were both dramatically affected by the flooding. I don't know if any of you know, it's not just that a lot of water came through the river. It's actually the water, there were dams that broke in addition. And so the water comes down from this really high elevation. That's the word. This high elevation. And it's come down like 3,000 feet. It's come down. So you have gravity and this massive amount of water and all of the debris of houses and literally towns that are in the water being pushed and forced through the river. And so
It's amazing.
unfortunately, Black Mountain and Swannanoa were dramatically affected. There's so many people up in the little coves, and we call them hollers, in these little nooks and crevices of the mountains, that have really, really been suffering. But I will say that it's week 3, and the folks that have been able to make it to week 3 are starting to enjoy the advantage of some more organization on the ground, and the wheels are being created and the communication is starting to happen. And it's all the things that you are feeling inside of yourself. um there's been a lot of loss up there, but there's also beautiful community coming together. It's this very intricate, beautiful, heartbreaking dance that's happening in this area right now.
Right.
Mindy, just real quick, do you know if how High Rock Acres did?
I
That's
don't know, honey. I'm sorry.
But I was just there 2 days ago at Black Mountain, and the town looks intact. It's actually nothing in the. It's not like Chimney Rock that got wiped out completely. But we really need to wive now to the next phase of our thing. So let's do that. But thank you for sharing.
very much, Mindy, for taking the time to answer the question. Thank you, Ellie. God's blessings to your turtle and to
Yes.
all the creatures.
Sure.
And that's the thing we know about the people, but imagine all the creatures that have been impacted. So
many.
some
Yeah.
grace.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for your love.
Oh, real quick, Mindy, there's a wolf dog rescue up on Black Mountain, so you might check that out and see if they need any help.
I'll do it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, let's just take a minute. And more and more we're doing prayer in our Global Peace Tribe shows. So now let's just take a moment and all send maximum grace to those impacted by both hurricanes. Maximum grace. I'm going to go to gallery view for this. Maximum grace to all beings everywhere impacted by the hurricanes. Maximum grace to all beings everywhere who are suffering. Maximum grace to the Middle East and Gaza. And in our local community, maximum grace to Piper Dillums. Maximum grace for Dorina Joy. Maximum grace to Ellie, whose leg is healing. Maximum grace to each and every one of you for any issues that you might be dealing with. And we take the gratitude the blessings of our life and use that gratitude as our shining light of sending love and healing vibes out to the world.
May we remember that when the clenching happens, it's our inner child wanting our love and attention from the only unconditional loving parent we'll ever have inside of us. May we remember that we're part of something so much bigger than we can ever really imagine. It's so much bigger. Deep gratitude for this community, for the ability to serve and get out of our own way. Ordinary people being extraordinarily loving. What a gift.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you very much. We're going to shift our attention. One of my favorite human beings on the planet is Maggie Rose LaCosta. She's, of course, part of the Twin Ray community. You've seen her on the show before. And in a few minutes, she's going to lead a KES group healing. But before that, I'm really excited about something that Maggie's doing now. All of you have kind of been following. We started this wonderful synergy group of the new generation of leaders for an awakening world, of which Maggie is an absolute founding member, core member at every meeting, making the videos. She's really, really carrying the banner for that. And over the years, really, there'll be a lot more that you'll be seeing coming out of this wonderful group of new leaders. She truly is a representation of the next generation of wisdom keepers. She has been on a spiritual path for a very, very long time. And although her chronological age is much younger than most of us, she is a wise and very loving being. And she and her partner Marley are doing something really exciting, which I'm planning on participating in, and I'm hoping some of you will as well. So welcome back to the Awakening World, Maggie.
Oh, thank you so much, Scott. It's so great to see you and be in presence with such beautiful community. It's been a really heart-touching show and just great conversations that are important for the coming times that we're in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Please tell the audience about what you and Marley are up to.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, Marley and I are planning an 8-week incubator in Hawaii. And the intention of this is a few beautiful ways to just really get the community together and see how it's possible to really live in a regenerative way. And so I moved to Hawaii about 4 years ago, and I got to live there for a year. And I was so amazed by all these beautiful intentional communities that were just popping up all over the place. And there's a quote about how the golden age will first anchor in communities. And I truly believe and see that with my heart. And so I met Marley on the Big Island, and last year she started bringing people to see these incredible communities that are just really going completely off grid, growing their own food, and just living a lot closer to the earth. And so we are really excited to bring a group of anywhere from 20 to 40 people to live on a beautiful eco village on Big Island in Pahoa. And we have so many fun activities planned. I'm actually just going to drop a link in the chat because I'm gonna keep it brief so that we can get into our meditation. But thank you, Scott, for just inviting your beautiful community to this immersion. And we have a breakdown of each week, and so people can stay from 1 to 8 weeks, and each week is specifically themed. And our intention is really to bring people together to co-create. So it's reimagining gatherings and just having intentional gatherings, having intentional community connect to create what is needed in this world. And what is so needed is a new way of living. And Buckminster Fuller said it perfectly, to just create a system that is better and obsolete. And that is what I see these regenerative communities doing. So that is all in short, and I left the link there, and please contact me if you're watching a replay, and I'm happy to send the link, or I don't know the best way to do that, Scott.
Why
But
don't
if
you
you
put,
Mhm.
put the link in the chat box? If you pop the link in the chat box, and
Yeah.
I'll also then open it up and show it to the audience that's watching out on all the different Facebook pages.
Great, thank you so much.
And Gary is going to contribute music for the community, and we love Gary Malkin music. Gary, the last week, it's an 8-week program, is elders, and they're bringing in all the indigenous elders and other elders, and who knows, if you're looking for an opportunity to come to Hawaii, wouldn't it be wonderful to have Gary there?
That would be amazing. Yeah, and the intention is to travel in a sustainable way. And so a lot of people do want to visit Hawaii, but what's the best way to do that? And it's really not through staying at one of the major hotels. It's really by getting just directly locally in the community that is growing their own food and building, sustainable housing and different things like that. And so it's really, really inspiring to see the new systems development that is being created in Hawaii. And so we'll be visiting different eco villages along with, it's special guests that will be coming. Ian Michael from Holos will be sharing about the Holos project, which is a beautiful community in Costa Rica, and there's now going to be a few other locations, and it's just going to be open conversation about what was right about that, what didn't go right, because when you live in community, there's a lot of learning, and so we can really just utilize resources and see what has been working to create these regenerative communities that I eventually see as cities of light and sanctuaries.
Beautiful. So, so put that link in. And one last time, thank you very much, Gary, for being with us tonight.
Love you guys. Thank you.
I know you're on the East Coast, so it's getting late there. So one more time, I'm going to put Gary on. Let's just all thank Gary. Lots of twinkles, lots of love. And likewise, your partner, Hope, you are a great combination. Truly a dynamic duo.
Thank you, Hope.
Thank you for being with us. I know it's late on the East Coast, so God's blessings to you both, and thank you.
Take care. Love you guys. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye,
So much
Min.
love.
And here is the link to where you guys everybody can learn more about this program. And one thing that I like, as I've learned about it from Maggie, is that you can come for a week, you can come for 8 weeks, you can do some sort of work trade. They've really set it up so there's a lot of options and a lot of ways to learn and participate. Week 1, rebirth and renewal. Week 2, awaken the body, harmonize the spirit with sound healing and somatic transformation. Week 3, building the future, eco-community development and spiritual sustainability. Week 4, regenerating the earth, climate solutions, cultural innovation. Week 5, wisdom of the ancestors, indigenous Hawaiian teachings and sacred ceremonies. Week 6, rhythm of the earth, tribal drumming, elemental song and dance. Week 7, unlocking the island's secrets, visionary play and adventure, exploration. And then week 8, guided by the elders, vision, integration, and co-creation for the future. And what we may or may not do is we might add a 9th week, which would be a Global Peace Tribe retreat week. So we're still looking at that as an option, as a possibility. So just want to drop it into people's minds to consider coming to the Big Island of Hawaii starting in February and March, and being with Maggie and Marley, and I'll be there for at least some of it, towards the end at least. And it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you so much, Scott. And we actually have a call this week with week 1, 2, and 3 facilitators. And so we have Elena, who basically pioneered orgasmic birth. And so it's not just about birthing children, which she has helped many, many beautiful children come into the world with the least amount of birth trauma, but she's all about restoring and healing any birth trauma, which is also related to the ancestral line. So it's very deep work, and we're gonna have a intimate Zoom call with her on Tuesday at 10:30 Pacific Standard Time, and also with Ian Michael from Holos. And so we're opening that up for people to ask about any questions. And the great thing about this retreat immersion too is that everyone, all the facilitators, there will be ample time to really just get intimate time with each facilitator, and then also with all the lovely hearts that are joining this gathering. And you can do as much as you want. So we also want this to be a free-flowing experience, to where if you still need to work and do your normal life, there's going to be a co-working space, and then office that you can get if you need Zoom time and private Zoom calls. And then there will also, just be yoga and mantra and harmonization with the voice, and just so many different activities, including island activities. It'll be dolphin and whale season. So we're about 10 minutes from a beach that usually has dolphins. And so it's just going to be a really, really special, heart-opening immersion.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Maggie, for that and what you're doing. Really, really excited about it. So, of course, tonight's show is all about resilience. What are your thoughts about resilience? What do you do when life is hard? How do you get centered and come back into a centered space? Of course, what you would call with the Twin Ray 12 o'clock.
I love that, Scott. And, that's so funny, because when I tuned in for the mini session tonight, I was thinking we could all do a co-creative experience of doing 12 or coming into 12 o'clock all together as a group field, and then stabilizing that. Because as the times change, and you've had the Kogis on the show many times, and they are this beautiful group of elders that speak about how the earth will be shifting in the coming years. And there's just been so many different prophecies that say that Gaia is just she's awakening, and anything that's not in alignment with her awakening can't stay. And so with that, we will, as light workers in this beautiful light tribe, need to hold space and hold the vision of the new earth. And one of the best ways to do that in a powerful co-creative manner with the earth is to be in alignment. And so there is a powerful teaching that Scott and I have been taught, and it's very, very simple. And it's the 12 o'clock true north technique. And basically, it's all about anchoring in that vertical power column and also being on the vertical plane. Because when we're on the horizontal plane, that can be when our thoughts are kind of running and all over the place, and we're maybe a little bit over there and a little bit over here. And that actually can be when karma is created. And so when you come to the vertical plane, that is where you're in alignment with that center point, and you become more of the witness of life. So instead of getting too emotionally entangled in situations, and of course we still have emotions, and emotions are beautiful, we can come more into that hawk perspective where we're just seeing from above and being able to hold a compassionate witness space for situations that may be tough. And so, Scott, we can go into the mini KES session if you would like, in meditation.
Take it away, Maggie. Thank you so much. It's all yours.
Thank you, Scott. And so I work with a system called KES. It works with the bioenergy field. And today we're just going to do a mini session, and we'll start by getting in a comfortable position. So you're welcome to turn your camera off if you would like and lay down. You're welcome to have just your spine straight. But we'll just go into a little 20-minute guided meditation and place to just really come into a group heart coherence. And so when you're ready, just take a deep breath in, an open mouth exhale, and just come into a comfortable position to where you can relax and co-create this state of alignment and peace. And so as we've been on this beautiful call and had beautiful conversations and thoughts, let's just bring our awareness down to our heart space. Letting the mental go, letting the thoughts go. And we'll start by taking our grounding cord. You can see this cord of light from your spine going deep into the earth, deep into the center core of the earth. And send your love down to the heart of the Mother Earth. Send your gratitude towards her for all that she does for you and all her children. And when you send that love, notice that that love gets amplified and returns back to you up through the cord of light, the line of light, up through your spine and back into the heart space. And feel that gentle, that grace that the earth carries. And then we'll send our cord of light up through our crown, up through the sky, up through the ethers, all the way to the sun, and past the sun to the great central sun. This cord of light wrapping around the great central sun. And then coming back down through the ethers, through the sky, down our crown, and down to our heart space, connecting the sky and the earth. And you may already be able to feel that vertical alignment. And now I invite you to visualize a clock in your mind's eye and see the dial at 12 o'clock. It might not be at 12, and just gently turn the dials so that all is at 12 o'clock at the true north. This is a state of being able to magnetize life, not forcing, but allowing life to show you exactly your next steps, allowing synchronicity to guide your life. And now with that 12 o'clock, see if you can bring every cell, every nuclei into that 12 o'clock as well. And seeing that vertical power column of light throughout your body growing. This golden tube eventually surrounds your entire body, connected with the earth, as well as connected to the heavens. And to strengthen your power column, see if you can hold this state, this centeredness, for the next few minutes. And just fully relax into your being. And see and feel every cell in your body start to smile as I work with the Christic energy and start to send these golden twinkles of light towards your energy field and towards your being. And just take the next 10 minutes to fully relax. And I will guide you out in just a few minutes. feeling this centeredness and alignment, asking to receive any messages from your guides, guardians. I invite you to place your hands up as we ask grace to shower upon us and to receive this grace from the heavens and to feel this grace with all your cells. And to feel this love for humanity, for the earth, and for yourself. And we're going to seal this mini session gently taking a deep belly breath, feeling your feet, wiggling your toes, just gently awakening the body. And when you're ready, opening the eyes. And thank you so much for receiving. And I'd love to hear how that was for all of you.
Thank you so much, Maggie.
You're
I'm going to
welcome.
take a moment. I want to remind people that you provide a personal healing experiences, people. Is it best for them to email you?
Yes, I have a website, maggierosealchemy.com, and you can read a little bit more about the work I do. And I did see in the chat people were asking for the Zoom link for the Tuesday call, so I'm gonna place that in the chat and you can read more about the interview on Tuesday.
Okay, and here, yeah, there's her website, Maggie Rose Alchemy. Okay, she already put that in, perfect. I'll put it in too. And we're going to go there right now for a moment. So for everybody watching on Facebook and YouTube, go to maggierosealchemy.com. And that's where you can learn more about the wonderful work that she does. And it's very beautiful, as we can all feel and tell. And you do private sessions for people, right?
Yes, absolutely. I love doing private sessions because we really just get to deep dive into any triggers or the psyche or any karmic patterns that may be playing out. And so the whole importance of the energy system that I work with is to clear the root cause of the problem and clear it at its energetic core so that it no longer has to repeat.
Beautiful. I'm going to read some of the comments that have come in. Dr. Laura writes, thank you so much, Maggie, for that beautiful energy. I'm going to put the full spotlight on you. I'm also very grateful to be here tonight with all of these loving souls, grateful for Mother Earth and her autumn splendor, grateful to Grandmother Moon for her beautiful full illumination and love this week. Shoshana writes, and you know Shoshana, That was so yummy, Maggie. It was like sparkling starwish seeds, like milkweed. The seeds of light were glistening in every atom and cell of my body. Then every cell became a portal, and this magnificent light which flowed through. What a lovely bath of light. Thank you so much for that powerful KES session. It was a beautiful experience. Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you so much for your beautiful words, Shoshana. I'm so happy you got to dive deep.
Ayada writes, that was beautiful, Maggie. It really grounded me in all the loving energy that was shared tonight. Susan Blomquist writes, I felt like I was in a diamond lotus.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. I always love to hear if people can feel the energy and how it was. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Maggie. It's been a beautiful way to conclude. And Maggie and her partner Marley are going to do an entire show in a few weeks on the Awakening World. So we'll get a chance to go deeper with what they're doing. And they're going to bring some of the other people that are going to be part of this 8-week Hawaii adventure. And hopefully by that time, we'll have more of an idea about what will be happening with Global Peace Tribe activities with it. And I want to thank our beloved brother, Omar Shar, who just always provides so much, including that beautiful music during Maggie's.
Yeah, thank you so much, Omashar. That was perfect.
It's always for me it's fun. It really is because I get to kind of animate musically what is happening inside of myself. So thank you, Maggie. Always a delight to have you here.
Wow, so beautiful. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Maggie. Thank you, Omashar. And one last announcement. On Wednesday night, our Wednesday Night Awakening World, we are going to have an animal communicator with us. So if you want to connect to one of your animals, and it does not need to be an animal that's alive, she can also connect to our animals that are in the spirit realm. So definitely make sure you join us on Wednesday night. And for those of you wanting to connect to your pet, living or passed on, this is your opportunity. So join us on Wednesday night. That's going to be a really, really special show. Maggie, I love you so much.
Love you. And so good to see everyone. So much love to the Global Peace Tribe. I hope you have a beautiful night and sweet, sweet dreams.
And have a very sacred Sunday tomorrow, everybody. And remember, we can make any moment sacred by choosing to see the divinity in all. And I see the divinity in each and every one of you. I see it in George and Ayada and Sylvia and each and every one of you.